Thanks so much for coming on, Key.
Thanks for having me, Karen.
Welcome to the Karen Mitches podcast, and my guest today is KeyEpic.
Owner of Key Fades in Toronto, Key's Comedy Club.
Two businesses.
Yeah.
So your first business was cutting hair, and that's Key Fades.
Yeah, first business was actually YouTube. I was a huge YouTuber. I fell off.
Oh.
I used to get recognized everywhere.
That's crazy. And then you started doing Key Fades, and then you opened the comedy club third.
When I fell off, I started doing Uber.
Oh, shit.
I was getting recognized while giving people food. And they're like, aren't you a huge YouTuber? Why are you doing Uber? I was like, I need a hustle.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
So, because you got into comedy like quite a while back, right? Like 10 years. And then from there, you started doing your YouTube.
I thought the YouTube would make seats. No, doing pranks doesn't put people in seats.
So was doing pranks the YouTube?
Yeah. When I fell off, I went to Uber, and then it got busy cutting hair. I would keep the clippers in my bag while driving Uber.
Amazing.
And so if I got a phone call to cut hair, I'd drive over to them and cut their hair. It became a point where cutting hair was more customers than Uber, and it's $50 a haircut. So obviously I'm going to cut hair.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it became a point where I gathered so much money, because cutting hair, you're making so much. I gathered so much money. I was looking at a stack of like $10,000. I'm like, this cash would look better if it was a comedy club. Amazing. And so I opened up Key's Comedy Club.
And how long have you been going for now?
2 years.
Amazing.
For both business, the barbershop and the comedy club.
My first open mic was at Keys.
No way.
Yeah, and I actually do a bit about it in my like stand-up because I thought I was gonna get murdered.
That's funny.
But yeah, so what is what is your strategy with Keys? Like did you have a plan when you opened it?
My plan was, if I'm not making money within the first 3 months, I'm closing it.
And what was that? Just after COVID?
Yeah, right after COVID. I knew everyone needed haircuts. I knew everyone needed laughter. And so I opened up both businesses, and people were coming to the comedy club scared because COVID was still like in the air. So people were like, should I wear a mask? Should I not?
Yeah.
It was fun times. I loved it. And so the haircuts, I was doing mobile orders, so I knew the mobile orders would die down. So I immediately opened up a barbershop.
But you did a mobile hair cutting business. Mm-hmm. So people would call you, you'd go to their house, cut their hair.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Now when someone wants mobile service, I charge $100.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Back then it was only $50. $50 I was okay with because like I was broke. Now when I don't want even $50 for a mobile service, $100 maybe, yeah. Because there's some crazy people, you don't want to go to their house.
Oh, yeah. Have you ever had something super sketchy happen?
Oftentimes. I'd get mobile orders. It's because I'm cutting their hair, and then they tell me, I have an ankle bracelet on. Like, people wear necklaces, bracelets, so what? They're like, no, I'm a criminal. I'm a convict. People are watching me. I have an ankle bracelet on. I'm like, no way. In my mind, I'm like, I gotta go. My comedian mind's like, let's get a story out of this. That's
a good service, though. Like, people on house arrest need haircuts, too.
Yeah. This is when I'm like, I'm gonna stop doing mobile services. I'm cutting this one guy's hair. He stands up out of nowhere because he hears the door. He's like, yo, what the fuck? Are you a cop? I'm like, you called me. He was about to beat me up. He stood up. He's like, are you trying to entrap me? I'm not supposed to have people over. I have ankle bracelet on. I said, oh, I got it. This is the last time I do a mobile order.
Yeah.
I stopped doing it. I'm like, I have enough money now. I don't want to be cutting hair and endanger myself.
Wow. But you've got like the hair studio on St. Clair.
St. Clair, Dufferin, Key Fades.
And then Key's Comedy Club, where I go. That's Bloor and Lansdowne?
It's near Bloor and Lansdowne, right by the strip club that's attached to the church.
Have you ever been in there?
I've never been to Paradise Strip Club, but the church, I would really want to know what's going on in there.
Yeah.
Is there a hidden tunnel to the strip club?
Like, yeah, I want to know what the connection is between those two businesses.
Unbelievable. All I know is it's called Paradise Strip Club. So either way, it's connected to the church, so you could pray after you sin. You could still go to paradise.
Amazing. So I'm hosting this podcast, and then my previous guests have been two other people who are regulars at Keys. I had Alex DeWitt on, I had Ben Albert on. So it's kind of like a lot of Keys energy on my podcast.
I love watching your podcast because I get to see people, their perspectives on the comedy club. It's been a lot of positive feedback. I like it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. Like, oh, that's what y'all think.
What's your favorite part about running the club?
My favorite part is that I always get stage time. The least favorite part is scheduling the shows. And the least favorite part is telling people, sorry, you're not funny enough. that's I don't like being that guy, but you have to. Because
people want to be on your show and you have to tell them no. Yeah.
But it believe it or not, it helped a lot of people grow into better comics. After I tell them the truth, I'm like, you should tell more jokes about you being this culture. Tell more jokes. Go out, break your heart. Tell more jokes about relationships so people could relate. And then they come back a year later and they're a better comic because I told them the truth.
That's actually, that is really cool. I have seen some comics, people that I just saw and thought like, wow, I guess they're just bad at comedy and can't do it. And then later you see them doing well. So it's interesting. People can get better. But I don't know if I have the heart to tell people when they just suck.
Well, if you're booking a show, you have to tell people because this is your name on the line and people need to respect your show if they're paying a high price. Like when I started out, I was charging 30 USD, which is almost like $40-50 Canadian.
For a show at your club?
Yeah, because rent's expensive.
And what's it at now?
I was one of the only clubs that had like so much respect on the name and on the jokes that I was charging a high price. Other clubs are charging like $15-20. Now I brought back the price, and I was selling out. And now because I'm like, in my mind I'm thinking, you know, the people who need laughter the most are the people who don't really have money and can't afford it. So I brought down the price to 20.
Nice.
Not because I need to pay the room rent now. Now I'm thinking the people who need laughter the most are the people who can't afford it.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Especially in these times of inflation, it's hard to get money together just to go out for a night.
Yeah, so when I'm charging $40 a ticket, it's usually like bougie people that are willing to spend that much. And those are the people who are more stuck up. They're coming here to judge you. They're coming here not to laugh. When you're charging lower prices, you get the people who desperately need laughter.
Yeah.
So it's always better charging lower too, because then you'll have more fun. They're not gonna be more on guard. Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of incredible how many audiences you must have seen over the couple of years now. Like, and I find Keys tends to bring out like a lot of interesting people.
Yeah, it's a diverse audience, you know what I'm saying? Uh, and since it's an intimate show, it makes people a way better comedian because you have to interact with the crowd to get them on your side. When you have a room full of 300 or 100 people, it's easier to get laughs.
Yeah, I find too, there was, like a period of time I was just at Keys all the time performing, and then I started doing better when I was at other places, even if the other place I couldn't interact with the crowd. It's like when you get used to just talking to the crowd every time, you're in tune to them, and then when you're on a different stage where there's more separation, you can't chat with everyone, you still have a sense of what's going on with them. It like tunes you into them.
Yeah, for sure. So anybody who's like a Keys Comedy Club comedian, they kill it at other rooms where it's like more audience, because what happens is they have to cater to only 30 people at Keys, and that's harder because it's harder to get laughs if there's not as much people. But when you're going and playing clubs with more people, now because you had to play Keys, you became like it's easier to get laughs where it's 100 people. The odds are on your side. When you're playing a room where let's say there's also some shitty open mics I know in Toronto, and I remember from way back where you're playing to only 1 or 2 people that are in a shitty bar. Yeah. And there's like 10 people there that aren't even listening. If you can make that 1 or 2 people laugh, you become an extremely good comedian, because it's harder to make 1 or 2 people laugh than to make 100 people laugh, because the odds are in your favor. Out of 100 people, at least 5 or 10 is gonna laugh.
Yeah, I've done a couple really small, like 5 people, and it's very intense.
That's comedy. Comedians love grinding. They love going and hopping bar to bar. I don't do that anymore because of Keys, but I remember.
Yeah. Do you ever miss that, like being out grinding?
Sometimes I'll go out just for nostalgia if someone invites me. Just for nostalgia purposes.
Nice.
I don't miss that, no. Because it's, as I said, it's really shitty bars where it's like 1 or 2 people. They're not even there for comedy most of the time. And so it's like soul crushing.
Yeah, it can be hard. Yeah. I find though, like when you do like do you call it amateur night?
I wasn't calling it amateur night at first, but when there was a comic that said some racist shit on stage, and then people were yelling at me about what he said on an amateur night, on open mic, I was calling it open mic to be respectful to the comics. Yeah. Because there's a lot of legendary comedians in Toronto. But when I'm getting yelled at for something an amateur comedian said, an open micer, I'm gonna call it amateur night from now on, just so I don't get people yelling at me.
But I like the amateur open mic at your club, because it's pretty enthusiastic for being, more of like a practice space, because sometimes you go to do one of those shows and people are just like, they're on their phone, they're tired, but I feel like it gets a bit rowdy on Thursdays at Keys.
Fun, right?
Yeah.
I think Thursdays, everyone wants to be on Friday, Saturday show, but Thursdays where it's at. That's the day where you get the most fun because you're molding the clay.
Yeah.
You get to try out new material.
Yeah. And I've done some of my weirdest stuff like there, and I think I've just, like sometimes people bomb, but also that can be its own thing, right?
Bombing is so much fun for me because I'm like, I can see where he's going, but he needs to fix this and this up and he'll make the joke better. And I've helped a lot of comedians who are doing comedy for the first time. I tell them how to punch it up, and so they come back the next Thursday and they punch up the joke that they were working on, and now they kill. I'm like, see, you're improving, and that makes me feel better that I'm helping them out, and that makes them feel better too, that, oh wow, Key's right, and I help them improve. And it makes me like know that, okay, I'm helping the community of comics, and it's such a small community, right?
Oh yeah, very tight knit.
Yeah, we all know each other. Even the legendary comedians. I've spoke with almost anybody who you could think of. I interviewed their brains before even opening the club. Cat Williams, Dane Cut, Russell, Linnell. There's Sinbad.
That's amazing.
I interviewed their brains before even opening up the club.
Just like for like to get an idea of how to run the club.
No, how to do comedy in general. And they all said the same thing.
What did they say?
There's no chick to hard work. They all said the same thing. Said there's no magical formula, just hard work.
Yeah.
During COVID, everyone was just on their phones doing live streams.
Did you do live streams during COVID?
No, I didn't, but I did live streams with all of the legendary comedians that I just named.
Oh, so like you were able to communicate with them through their live streams.
Yeah, or I just DM them and then I tell them if they could be interviewed by me. I got a chance to speak with some of these people for hours.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Who's
They're
your
on
favorite?
my YouTube channel. If you just search KeyEpic and then the name that I mentioned,
Okay.
you can find them.
Who was your favorite to talk to?
They're all pretty funny, but the most informative, what I would say, was Dane Cook.
Oh yeah?
He told me, make your own flyers, make your own posters, advertise your own shows, don't rely on anyone. So that's what I did. I took his advice. I was like, okay, if that's what you're telling me to do, you're Dane Cook.
Do you find the promotion aspect of it difficult?
The first time I did it, it was difficult, but the first time I did it, I had the most people who came out. I just posted it once on my stories on Instagram.
And that's when you got the most people.
Yeah, I just posted it one post on my Instagram stories. Everybody who was a fan of my comedy, which I met from open mics, this and that, I just add them on Instagram, and then since they follow me and they're a fan of the stuff I did, they laughed the hardest, so I added them. They're like, okay, you're doing a show, I'm going to come out and support. So if someone laughs at your joke the hardest, make sure you add them, stay in touch. They're a fan of you, they're going to come out and support.
That's good advice.
And so the room was full of fans that hardcore love my comedy. So when I did my first show, was before COVID happened, and I filled up the room like 30 people, and I just filmed it. It went really good. I was so happy. It was my first time doing an hour.
You did an hour of comedy?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was hard, but what made it easy was, in order to do an hour, just jot down all your jokes. And you're allowed bringing a piece of paper on stage.
Yeah.
As long as you just glance at it, and it makes it look professional.
I notice it with some comics. I think it's like the kind of attitude you have about it. Like if you're really nervous and like holding it, it looks awkward. But like if people are like cool about it and they just check on it, and it seems fine.
Yeah, you're allowed bringing when you're doing public speaking, as long as you glance at it and people know, okay, he's doing this for us because he wants it to be a good show.
Yeah.
But if there's people that are like, oh, what does that say? Oh, let's say. No, don't be nervous. Just glance at it like a professional. Take a sip of water to like make it look like, oh, I need water. That's what I'm glancing. But they know you're glancing for the joke, what's next. But you're making it look like, oh, I need a sip of water. It just makes it look more professional that you're not nervous.
Did you always know you wanted to be a performer?
It was grade 7.
Yeah.
Grade 7, I did this bubblegum speech where I made the whole class laugh. Well, whole school. It was a room full of like 300 people. Everyone who was in my grade, I made them all laugh hard.
And you were like, this is it.
I got like high off that. And I was always chasing that feeling. Around grade 12, I finally found out what stand-up comedy was.
Oh shit, you didn't know?
No, I didn't know that was a profession.
Amazing.
I was flipping channels, like, oh wow, this guy's pretty funny. I did some
Do you
research,
remember
found
who
out
it
it was a
was?
thing. I think it was like Channel 44. They had Comedy Central,
Okay.
so it was just like local
Yeah, just
regulars.
yeah,
Yeah.
very cool.
So that's when I was like, do some research, found out some clubs in Toronto.
Did you grow up in Toronto?
I grew up in Toronto, yeah. 34 years now.
Nice.
Escaped the war in Lebanon. How about you? You
Were
grew
you
up here?
born in Lebanon?
You grew up here?
Yes. Well, no, not Toronto. I grew up in London, Ontario, and then I moved to Toronto in my 20s.
Oh. Yeah, I came here when I was 1 year old from Lebanon. I don't remember being there.
I thought you were Armenian.
I'm Armenian, Lebanese Armenian. It's a dialect.
Oh shit.
Yeah, there's many dialects. There's the purest form of Armenian, which is Hayastansi, anyone who's from Armenia. And then there's Lebanese Armenian. They don't understand us. We understand them.
Hilarious. Is all your family in Toronto?
Yeah, all my family's in Toronto. I have some family from LA. Not really close to them.
You can't go like stay at a cousin's house or something?
They'd allow it, but it would feel awkward because I'm not close to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, they would allow it. They'd want me to stay there. But me being someone who's independent, I wouldn't want any help.
Yeah, yeah. For sure. Do you get to travel a lot?
Yeah, I travel a lot. When I was doing pranks, I traveled to LA, Miami, filmed pranks there. Anywhere I went out, it was so cool.
What were your pranks?
The biggest prank I did got like 40 million views.
What?
A lot of fucking money I made off that.
What was it?
It was a cheating prank I did. Cheating prank backfired where a girl saw me in bed with 3 women. My ex-girlfriend came home, saw me in bed with 3 women. She's like, what the fuck? You're cheating on me with 3 women? What is this, a 3-4-1 happy ending? What's going on here? She goes to the living room, grabs a weapon, comes back to attack the women. I'm like, chill, it's a prank. That shit got 40 million views.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it put me on the map.
So you were like living off of that money and traveling off of it?
Yeah, living off it, traveling. And then I lost all the money. I made 100,000 in 1 year in the bank, physical cash aside. But then I spent it all in the wrong places. It all went down the drain, and I became broke Uber driver.
Oh no. So can I ask, like, what was your main thing that you spent money on?
It was rent. Rent was high. I thought maybe I should get a studio so that way I could fill it up with really successful YouTubers. I did that. They all backstabbed me. I kicked them all out.
Oh no.
And then yeah, they that's what I'm saying. Hollywood is all fake people.
Yeah.
They're all trying to step on you to climb up the ladder. Rarely you'll meet someone genuine. There's one guy I met, Rice Man, very genuine guy. That was the only person that I met in Hollywood that was actually kind and not trying to like backstab you or climb ladders and like deceive you. Yeah, it's Hollywood. When you go there, it's like a lot of people are fake.
So you burned through all that money. How depressing was that?
Yeah, it was very depressing. I have a photo where I'm driving Uber and you see my face very depressed. Because you go from being someone who's very successful, rich, famous, and then losing it all driving Uber is very depressing. So when I came across cutting hair, it just turned it all around. I became so happy.
Yeah.
And my debt was starting to be paid off. I was like, this is so cool. And I even bought a car on Visa. I became even more debt. because I knew that if I buy the car, I could drive to people's houses quicker and make money cutting hair. So I was like, let me get into a bit more debt. Bought a car, paid that all off I paid off 15,000 debt, and then also bought a car for like 4,000. Used Honda. Those things are reliable. So I was 20,000 debt, paid that all off within like 3 to 4 months, cutting hair.
And then that's just where you got on the straight and narrow. But then you opened your comedy club.
So after I paid off the 20,000, I was up 10,000.
Nice.
I was like, let me use this money to open up a comedy club. Fuck this. I went through so much. Let me have some fun now.
But I can kind of see that. Like, you make money. You were in your 20s when you're doing the YouTube stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of think a lot of people who make a bunch of money in their 20s are going to blow it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of... But you didn't go too stable, because you could have gotten into something really boring, right? Like, you got back and you got the comedy club.
I could have invested all of the money I was up into Bitcoin or Ethereum. I'd probably make like 300,000.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know you were going to do that.
I knew that if I put it into Ethereum, I would make so much. But unfortunately, I'm like, I'd rather put it into something I have more control over and something that would make me happy.
I have some friends who made money on Bitcoin, and my aunt was asking me, she's like, why didn't we buy Bitcoin? And I'm like, because we're not those kinds of people, right? Like one of my friends who made money on it also, like, at one point had like huge gambling debts from online gambling. It's like people who bought into that have also taken other really big risks.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll gamble like $250 at Niagara. And because I do Bitcoin, so I see it drop like 3,000 one day and then go up 3,000. So I'm like, $250 is not a lot of money. Let me just play this hand in blackjack.
Oh my God. Okay, so what are your favorite things to gamble on?
Blackjack. You have more control over it when you're versing a dealer.
Yeah.
But when you're playing a computer, it's 100% rigged.
Yeah. Okay. Any other games?
No other games. I'm really good at blackjack. Usually the dealer wins. I don't recommend gambling at all.
No. I'm not into gambling, but I do like, if I'm at a casino, I really like the craps table.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think because you play like at a table with a bunch of other people and you can bet on other people. So there's like a winning streak that the whole table can be participating in. It's a really good vibe. And if you kind of go in with, okay,
How do you play craps?
I can't even remember it. I always have to learn the rules like every time I go.
Oh.
But you're basically like rolling dice, and then there's some kind of rules around it.
Oh, see, I only like blackjack because I know how to play and I know that I usually win. So I played yesterday with my girlfriend for like fun. I don't know what she was doing, but I kept losing to her and she was a dealer.
Oh no.
I never really lose that much. I got pissed. I'm like, fuck, what are you doing?
Amazing.
I'm like, are you rigging this?
Is your girlfriend in comedy at all?
No.
Is she funny?
She doesn't even want me to speak about her on stage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about her in this interview?
I don't think we should, because she doesn't even want me to talk about her on stage.
Okay. I respect that.
But yeah. So one of the things that happened when I had my downfall in YouTube, I needed grounding. So it is important to have a family.
Yeah.
So I recommend people to have someone who you could come to home and you're grounded, right? So it's important for everyone, because when you're extremely famous and you have a lot of money, your head's in cloud 9. You're not on the earth. Your head's like, oh, I could do this next, I could do that next, I can get this much if I do this. You need to come back down to earth and relax, and family does that for me. So
okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
When you come back to, let's say I started off at my mom's house. So when you come back, you see your mom and her struggles. It just brings you back down to earth and grounds you. You're like, that's my bigger purpose why I was doing this.
What does your mom think about your comedy club?
She's like, I always knew you're going to be someone big. That's what she always says to me.
That's awesome. Do you have a lot of siblings?
Yeah, I have 2 sisters, 1 brother.
Are you the baby?
I'm in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm a youngest, and I thought you were too.
Oh.
But you're middle child.
Yeah. You're the youngest, so you're the most spoiled.
Yes, definitely. But it's the same makeup in my family. There's 3 girls and a boy.
Oh, that's cool. And you're Greek, you said?
Yeah, my dad's family's from Greece, and then my mom's family is Serbian and Croatian.
Serbia and Croatia, they just played soccer today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think they tied with Italy, so they both move forward.
Croatia?
Yeah, they're both like waving flags. They're all honking downtown at St. Clair and Dufferin where I work.
Nice. I should get into soccer because Croatia seems to do really well at it, but I'm not really like one to watch sports unless like a Toronto team is like in a final.
I see. What is your what is your thoughts on P. Diddy?
Oh my God. I can't understand how we let people go so far when they're like that. I guess I'm just horrified. And I mean, I guess it's a reality that there are these enablers, but it still shocks me. What are your thoughts on P. Diddy?
I think P. Diddy's crazy son. He obviously doing some. I seen a video that only had like 1,000 views. I guess someone leaked it. It's not to the mainstream, of him like taking people's phones and putting them in a bag because he didn't want them to film what was happening on at one of his boat parties.
Oh my God.
So he's obviously doing some. When you have enough money, you could tell people, listen, if you're coming in here, put your phone in here. And then they do some crazy stuff, obviously.
Yeah. So sketchy.
He's obviously ended his career.
Yeah. And I think a lot of other people are going to go down with him.
Yeah, whoever's associated with him for sure. That's crazy.
But I guess that's the other thing, like when you were talking about kind of like wealth and fame and how like your head's in the clouds. And then you get like predator type people who get power through that, and then they just do whatever they want. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's important to stay humble and just give.
And not be a psycho sex predator.
You have any other questions?
Yeah, I kind of want to know a little bit more about like your pranks. Like,
yeah, so I thought if I go viral that I would fill up seats. It didn't work. Pranks, people are just watching for a quick laugh. They're not really into who you are. So if you want to sell seats, make sure people know who you are.
yeah, because I guess you can be really into one video and then never go back and look for that person again.
Yeah. What you're doing right now, I applaud you for it because you're doing it consistently. And people get an insights of who Karen is. Like we just said that you're a Greek, you were born in London, grew up there. You have more water by any chance?
Yeah.
My throat's dry as hell. So.
Hold on a sec.
So yeah, I think you're doing a good job. I applaud you for the consistency. And not many people have consistency. And the fact that you can be consistent, it's like a huge, you're already ahead of the game, whether you're getting views or not. That right there in the future, in the long run, consistency is you watering the plants. So in the future, the plant's gonna grow into enormous views. And consistency means you have faith that it will. And if you keep going, whether it's 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, they say the bamboo tree becomes the biggest tree in 5 years.
The what tree?
The bamboo tree is the biggest.
Oh, the bamboo tree.
After 5 years. You
Nice.
just gotta keep watering.
I think too, like I came up with, there's different formats for a podcast, right? And I wanted to do one where I talk to different people in the scene, because I feel like, I don't know, like one of my favorite parts about comedy has been just like becoming part of the community in Toronto. And so, yeah, it's great to be able to like bring other people on their show and like kind of like showcase who I think is funny, who I think is interesting or original.
Yeah, it's good stuff you're doing. I'm saying in terms of comedy career, you're doing a good job, because you need a podcast if you want to be a comedian, because you grow fans off this and then they'll come to see you in person. And a lot of comedy clubs in Toronto, they don't want comedians to promote themselves. That's such a selfish thing to do, because they want you to be stuck on the comedy club so they could keep using you for their own benefit. Me, as a comedy club owner, I want my comedians to promote themselves so that way they could go off and fly on their own and not rely on a comedy club. They should only come to a comedy club so that way they could work on material. Not, oh, you should pay me for doing this. Pay you. Some of these comedy clubs are paying their fucking performers, headliner performers, like $10 a show, or just to do 10 minutes. They're paying. What's that $10 gonna do? That's disrespectful. I want my comedians to come to here to fucking do to fucking film their sets, go viral online, make $10,000 a show because they put on the show themselves, not $10.
When I had Brad Goss on, he was saying, like, we were talking about like moving to New York or moving to LA, and he's like, you just have to go to the internet. And I was like, I like the way he said that, because it's like it is a like, it's a way for people to become like, to have more power than like, they don't have to go get permission from someone to like perform. They can just like develop their own strength through their own fan base.
That's true. Yeah. So my comedians, if you look on the wall, they all have like millions of views. You see Deshaun?
Yeah.
Deshaun went
so I
viral
should
and killed
explain. Key has at his club like the Wall of Legends. So it's like a wall where photos of his regulars are.
Yeah. A lot of them are getting like millions of views. He got millions of views for his stand-up. He's performing at Key's Comedy Club. People are recognizing him.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, he's a really good guy too.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, one of the things I like about Keys, like, obviously it's where I like kind of like developed and grew up, but it's also just like a really good hangout.
Yeah, it is. I created the club so I could perform, but then when I knew there's other comedians coming, I'm like, I gotta make sure I help create legends. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like you have a lot of ambition, because other people, they want to perform, they'll just like host a show once a month or something, but you actually started a whole club. Like, and even kind of like the prank videos, and it feels like you make like big moves.
Yeah.
Were you always like that?
I wasn't always like that. One guy, he sat me down, and I know you're a big book reader as well, so I'll tell you what book he told me to read. One guy sat me down after I graduated high school. He told me to read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And he told me, in this book, you'll find that you could do anything with your life. Just see that. And he starts pointing at stuff. He sees, see that snow removal? That's a company. You didn't do anything. It doesn't matter. Everyone's telling you be a doctor, this and that. He then points at another one. He points at a garbage truck. He said, look at that garbage truck. You're going to laugh at a garbage truck? Whoever's the owner of that garbage truck is making money. He said you could make money anyway with your life. And then he pulls out Napoleon Hill's book, and he reads me a poem from Napoleon Hill's book about And I forget where the poem is exactly in that book, but there's a really good poem in that book. He then reads me it, and he tells me, I read this poem every day. And so he told me, go buy this book. I wasn't a reader.
Yeah.
I was not a reader. But if he told me he was a university professor at York, I said, okay, I should be listening to this guy if he's a teacher. Teachers don't even make that much, but I was programmed to give respect to teachers.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what he tells me. I went off, bought the book, and that book changed my life. There's a lot about ambition in that book and reprogramming your subconscious mind to achieve stuff.
What is reprogramming your subconscious mind?
So there's a chapter in Napoleon Hill's book where it says auto-suggestion.
Yeah.
Where you're able to influence your subconscious mind by reading over and over passages of stuff that's not true. But it says that if you say it over and over, your subconscious mind is going to believe it's true whether you want it or not. And so you could influence it to believe that, let's say this podcast is going to get millions of views.
Yeah.
You can influence it. And then down the line, like a month from now, 2 months from now, you'll start achieving that.
I believe that. When I quit smoking, I tried a few times and I failed. And then the time that it worked, I just said to myself, like, I was never a smoker. I just made a mistake and thought I was a smoker. And that, like, the feeling that I'd have in my chest when I was like craving a cigarette, I'm like, that's just my natural like anxiety. And like, I can just like live with that. And I just said that to myself. And then I like believed it over time and I quit.
That's crazy. And there's the story, like how you said, there's a story if an eagle is around pigeons or chickens, he will never learn to soar. Because that's who he's around. That's what his subconscious is picking up.
Okay, so I never heard that one, but someone said to me, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
And I believe that a lot.
Birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah. Like partway into my 30s, I was trying to get more serious and I started just like changing jobs and I just wanted to be in a positive work environment. And I was doing admin, so I could go to any type of company, but I went to an investment company because I figured like I'll be like around people who know about money, who are accountants, who know how to save, who know how to invest, and I'll pick up like their attitude towards things, which you know, if you're in your 30s and you haven't like put down roots yet, like it's good to get around, like get into the right mindset towards your retirement, right?
Yeah,
so that was my...
Then you invested in Bitcoin. You said you didn't do so well.
I didn't buy Bitcoin. No, I have friends who invested in it. I wish I had. But that was more like friends from high school who made money on Bitcoin. My work friends are very conservative.
I had one full Bitcoin in 2017.
Yeah.
But it was on a platform. When the platform closed down, they took my whole Bitcoin.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
How much did you lose?
I lost one full Bitcoin, which was 9,000 in 2017.
Oh, fuck.
Right now, it's worth 83,000 Canadian.
Oh, my God.
Crazy, yeah?
That's devastating.
Unbelievable. But I had a lot of YouTube money, so that wasn't a lot of money for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but imagine... See, I told you I had 100,000, so it was going down in various streams. Money is like water. It comes to you. It could also go to you, away from you fast. So you have it today, it's gone tomorrow. You just got to be humble.
Yeah.
And realize that the source gave you this. The minute you start saying, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, the minute you lose everything.
So what's the kind of messaging you need to say to keep money?
You got to meditate, realize that this all comes to you from a greater source. You got to pray and be thankful from God who provides you all things. Know that you don't exist. This is all being given to you. You're just a tool, and letting it the source give you all things. You don't exist. You're just a tool.
So are
you're what do you call it? You're a spirit in the physical body. You know how powerful spirit is?
Very?
Very powerful. Anything I have, you have. Anything you have, I have. No one's better than anyone on this earth. Is that crazy?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, no one should envy. No one should be jealous.
So do you do like manifesting?
Manifesting. What does that mean?
I don't know it exactly, but it's something a lot of people do nowadays. And it has to do with like, I think you think or meditate on things and then they happen in the world.
Oh, yeah. So if you meditate, you'll get all these amazing ideas. You get to choose which idea you want to bring into life. And it's like instantly you'll create the ideas into life because the spirit's powerful. So when you're manifesting, you're digging from within your higher self.
Do you know Mark Hallworth?
Yeah.
So one time I was hanging out with Callan T. Spence and we were talking about Mark Hallworth, and then Mark just showed up out of nowhere and I was like, oh my God, we manifested Mark Hallworth. And Callan's like, yeah, but Mark's easy to manifest because he's so in touch with the universe.
That's crazy. That's unbelievable.
But do you think some people are more in touch with the universe than others?
That's unbelievable that happened. That's so cool. So all successful people are in touch with their inner self. Anybody who wants to achieve stuff, everything comes from the spiritual realms into the physical.
How do you know if you're in touch with yourself?
That sounds wrong. That's funny. Well, sometimes I get a little jargon oil. That's funny. That's a funny question to ask someone. You rephrase it.
So like, how does a person know like if they're on the right path?
Oh, so anytime you think, oh, I created this, I did this, that's when you're gonna lose everything. Anytime you go to the forest, you meditate, you get insights from a higher place other than yourself, you're going down the right path. But anytime you're just, oh, I did this, I'm the greatest, you're gonna lose everything. Anytime you meditate, you're gonna succeed. You're gonna succeed because it's not you who is creating everything. It's a greater force than you who's giving you information. I created a comedy club. I've never worked at a comedy club. Where'd I get all the information from how to do it?
Yeah.
I've never had a barbershop in my life. How do I know how to have a staff of 5 people who cut hair there and open up the shop on their own?
Yeah.
I get all the knowledge from a place that's greater than me. You don't need books.
No,
you don't need books. Books are good for the start, so they'll push you towards knowing your higher self.
I do kind of think a lot in terms of like practicing at things, like that you have to do things and then do them more, and that you kind of like figure things out through time. Because I think I used to think like you had to learn something all at once and you either knew it or you didn't know it, as opposed to like when you practice at something and then you sort of like get at it more and more over time.
I'll tell you, I read almost every self-help book you could think of after he told me about Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
They all said the same thing.
What?
All self-help books say the same thing. They're just regurgitated knowledge.
And what are they saying?
Whether it's manifesting, whether it's subconscious mind, whether it's, they all say the same thing. It's just regurgitated knowledge. You don't need knowledge from books unless you just came out of high school, so that way you could learn. But what happens in high school is they make reading so boring that you're not even going to want to open a book. So you won't even get that far into knowing the truth of the higher self or whatever it is and that. You're not even going to get that far. Unless there's people like me opening up people's eyes on a podcast. Which, okay, now you're going to want to open up a book. Books are good to start off with. All the information's within you. Books are created so people can make money.
Are you going to write a book someday?
The book where people go Think and Grow Rich, that guy made his millions off Think and Grow Rich. Any book on, oh, this guy made millions of dollars, that's a title or whatever. How did he make his millions? He made millions selling that book.
Yeah. But I think sometimes people, like, they have a lot of people interested in them, but they don't know how to just monetize their fame. So then they write a book.
That makes sense. Yeah. And oftentimes they're not writing it.
Yeah.
They're speaking into a recorder. Then you give it to someone and then they write it out for you. They don't have time to write a book.
Yeah.
They're just recording it and then someone writes it out for them. You can record it and probably even get ChatGPT to write out the book for you.
Yeah.
By speaking your life and then telling him, make this a 100-page book. That's crazy. You know how many books are going to be created by AI now?
Yeah, it's going to be wild.
You're not even going to be reading real experience from a man. You're going to be reading experience a man told AI to write for him.
But
And
do you think, like, for the most part, like, if you have a sincere story you want to tell, but you're not a great writer, the AI isn't, like, you're giving the sort of like originality and the soul of the work, and then the AI is just like helping you structure it and give it, like, make it readable.
Well, the AI writes better than man. I'd rather read a book from AI than man, I'll be honest.
Are you do you get excited about technology?
Yeah, I think technology is the future. AI already came so far and it's in its early stages. Imagine in the future what AI is going to look like.
Yeah. Are you worried at all?
Not at all. Not at all.
You're not, like, worried we'll get trapped in the Matrix?
I don't know what that means.
Did you watch The Matrix, the movie?
I didn't really watch it. I fall asleep during movies.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless it's Titanic. Titanic's the best movie of all time.
Is that your all-time favorite movie?
Yeah.
What about it? Like the love story? Or...
Action, love story. People are dying. It's so good. Really good storyline.
Yeah.
That's the best movie of all time.
It's so sad when it sings.
You also have nudity.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
It's pretty hot.
That was the best movie of all time.
I wouldn't have guessed you for Titanic. That's like a lot more romantic and sentimental than I would have thought for you.
How do you go from action and then really sad at the end? It's so good. It's such a really good movie. I love that movie. I probably watched that movie like 10, 20 times. I love that movie.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you watch Avatar?
Avatar, yeah, it's a really good movie too. That's in my top 3.
I just watched the sequel, the second Avatar, and it's James Cameron, right? And then, like, there's like all that boat stuff, and I was like, oh man, this guy loves boats.
Did you see there was some scenes that look similar to Titanic?
Yeah.
That was cool. Real Titanic fans caught that. Anybody else, they didn't catch that. That was so cool. I'm glad you noticed that. Yeah, that was awesome. Only Titanic fans would have noticed. I pointed out to my girl, yo, that was a scene from Titanic. And she's like, what, really? I was like, yeah, they just created the exact same scene right there. And she's like, really? I'm like, oh my God. How don't you know?
That's amazing. Okay, so I'm really glad you came on the show.
Happy you had me, man.
So
I love watching your show.
Thanks. It's been great having you on. So it's Key's Comedy Club is the club, and then Key Fades is your hair place.
Yeah.
And Legends Only, right?
I was just saying that I don't know why people say Legends Only. I just like to promote really good shows, so I wrote Legendary Comedians Only, and now people always say that. I just wrote that in the descriptions. It wasn't even like I never even said it to anyone. I just wrote that in the descriptions. Now everyone says that.
It's just like part of the Keys lingo now.
Funny. Yeah.
Thanks, Key.
Happy having me. See you, Karen.